Hey everyone, welcome back to Paper Therapy with Amy. I'm Amy, and today I want to show you a layout in this September-October catalog. And it's on this page with the Design Elements stamp set. There's this layout up here. So this is a really fun layout, and it inspired me to make my own similar layout. Now it's quite a bit different, but I did use the stamp set in similar ways that they are using it. So they've got the stripe like this one here. This one here they're using over here behind. This one here they're using on a piece of paper down here, or maybe it's right on the backing. No, it's on a piece of paper right there. And it looks like they've kind of rubbed the stamp sets the ink pads right on the page for the background. And then there's this stamp set is used and this one. So we're gonna work on making a very similar layout to this. Okay, I already did one side and I'm gonna make the other side together with you today. So this is the one side I made. I do have to trim it back a little bit. So I kind of know exactly where I'm going. I chose different colors than in the catalog. I've chose sage, and peach would work, but this is an older color, pardon me, called bashful, bashful. And I think this is almond, and then I used mink over here. So I'm using some colors that don't exist anymore, but really you can use any colors that go with a color scheme that you want to use. So I'm going to bring in my work surface here. Help me keep in frame with you. So I'm going to stay to this side, and I'll keep this here for now. And then I'll bring the other page back in later. So first of all, these are the pictures I've decided to use rather than the big one I'm going to use. This one and this one. And then these are the three pieces from the bottom that I have on the other side. And I've used a stamping on them. And I haven't cut the top and bottom yet because I want to rub the ink first and then kind of see where I'm at and if I want to cut a ½ inch off each or how I want to do that. And I'm not leaving this here. I decided to keep it like this. And then I'll cut this here. And this is the title I'm going to use. There's lots of wood grain embellishments now available, but not this particular one anymore, but lots of different ones. So I will link those down below, and there's lots of similar things to use to what I'm using. So the way I did this is I used some removable tape. So we have the masking tape from Close to My Heart, but I just have this Post-it tape. So, and I want to put, so I'm just gonna, I used it upside down so I could have this side, but the ink pads have a curve in them and I wanted to avoid that curve. So here is the mink. I didn't want this to show. You can see here that it shows a little bit actually on some of the corners, but I didn't want it to show on mine. So I am going to just put this at the same height. So this isn't glued down yet. Oh, actually I used it upside down. And then I alternated how I had it. So I'm going to start here. And by the way, this is take 2. I tried it on the other side already and it didn't go great. So let's start with bashful. So this is something very similar to peach. Okay, when I push here, I always get a fingerprint, so I'm going to try not to push there. And I'm just going to go down and give it firm pressure. And I'm starting on my tape. First one. Okay, next I'm going to do green. Maybe I'll go higher actually. Yeah, I think I'm going to go a little bit higher. Again, I'm going to try to go right beside so there's not much gap, or any gap if possible. There we go. This is gonna dry back a bit. It looks darker now than it is. Okay, now we have mink. Now this is fully upside down, so I'm gonna want to put the mink on this side. So let's come down a little ways. I'm just gonna wipe that off so that I don't get too much ink bleeding, if any. There we go. Little imperfect right there, so I'll just kind of give it a second swipe. Good enough. And then I like the straight edge this gives, and that's why I'm doing it this way. This is where the almond is gonna go. So where's my almonding pad? There it is. Here's almond. Once more. Oops, I had to go around my finger there, so it's not perfectly straight. Let's try once more. Good enough. Okay, so here's how that turned out. And this will dry back a bit more yet. It's a little higher in the top, but otherwise it looks pretty good. It looks similar enough, I think. So I am going to do a trick with this here because I feel it didn't come quite down far enough. So I think I'm going to cut my 1/2 inch off the bottom of here. So it's going to go like this. I definitely want to give it a bit of ink around the outside. Here we go, and this is going to go actually this way. Yeah. So here's my backside attempt. That didn't go quite as well. Now I'm going to work on these. So I'm just going to put this on top of here. And I'm going to show you how I made these. So I used this stamp here. It's right here. And I used it with toffee ink. In the catalog, it's been used side by side, so all the lines are vertical, and I've chosen to use it alternating vertical and horizontal so that it looks kind of like a checkerboard effect. I've decided to place this pink strip and the green strip I'll be stamping next right beside each other because I like the more anchoring effect it has. Then I like it better than the way the strip is done in the catalog. However, it's whatever your tastes are. For the green strip, I'm using mink ink, and I'm using the same polka dot as they used on their strip in the catalog. As you know, I like to ink around everything, but especially when I'm kind of creating my own papers with cardstock, it's nice to ink because it kind of makes everything have a uniform look. So next I'm doing the little strip that looks like a wood grain. I use the wood grain stamp, and I'm just kind of repeating it over and over to get those lines to be a bit stronger than they are stamping. I think my ink pad is a little bit dry, my espresso ink pad, but it's also because the end piece, because you repeat right where the last board ends, you put the next board on, it ends up being darker than the lines in between the other pieces. So I'm just kind of repeating it over and over until I get the desired effect. I cut out several of these 1.5 inch circles so that I could use them for embellishments, just as I have on the opposite page that I have already finished. Once I'm done with these little embellishment circles, I'm going to start placing everything on the page. I don't glue anything down until I kind of know where everything is going to go. Erin, my friend Erin, she says that's dry fitting everything. So that's what I like to do as well. Just taking a look at it with the other side on to see if I like how that design looks, and I do like it together. So now I'm going to add in the crackle stamp, which I've used before and many of us are using. We love it. So this is one stamp you definitely need in your stash. It's so useful and you'll use it for years to come, I think. You definitely want to use it different directions. I like to turn it 90 degrees so that the main lines are going either horizontal or vertical. It was fun to use so many stamps from this particular stamp set in my layout today. So now I'm going to bring back in the In Bloom title and start to embellish. Okay, one thing that I wanted to fix that I didn't think went quite right is I felt like I wished these came down farther. So there's a quick fix to that, and I waited till now so I could show you. So what we're gonna do is just take off, well, I'd like it to be this close, so I'm gonna take off an inch. Maybe a little bit less, 3/4 of an inch. And now it's going to be too short, right? But where do I want this to stick out from the bottom of here? I want it to be like, let's say, there. Now I have to make sure that this will be covered up with these. So they will be. So a little bit farther even. So we're going to go there. Okay, so let's do this. We're going to go to the 1/2 inch line right there. Then we're going to take this one. We're going to go to the 1/2 inch line right there. And make sure we're at the 1/2 inch line there. And now we're just going to take this and cover all that up. Oh, wrong way. So something like that. I do want that to stick out of there a little bit. So we're gonna go like that. That looks pretty crooked to me. Crooked. Make sure this is straight on here. I'm not taping it down because I wanna, all right. Yep. Take that down. Okay, so here I have the same situation. So I'm gonna do the same thing again. I'm gonna cheat. There we go. Then I'm gonna, okay, so I'm gonna fix it a little bit with the ink pads. There we go. It's not totally perfect, but it'll work. And I think I can cover this up with my embellishments, so. There we go. And then this one, we're gonna go to there. This is mink. So let's just, good enough. Just quit while you're ahead. There. Put this down here. Go to here. We're gonna go to 1/2 inch. Side, just kind of eyeball it. There we go. Once again, this one sticking pretty good, so just a little bit extra to make sure it stays in all the corners because I've got it cut in a new spot. There we go. 2 1/2 inch, and let's come right down that side and go like that. So now we're just gonna hide this. Now let's come out like this. Now it should just about, oh, I wanna go here. And I'm just putting them right up against, squishing it tight. There. There. And then, once again, let's trim that little edge. off by flipping it over. Get our super sharp scissors right up there. These are my old scissors and they're getting kind of dull, and they're not the no stick. These are the no stick, and it really works, folks. I didn't think it would work. Oh, that one's gonna go there. We're gonna put in bloom and center that in there. And this was my embellishment for this side. So I've got that ready to roll. And then I want this one to be on the same level as these. So they're about, let's see, at 5. So we're gonna have this one about at 5. So let's stick that down. Okay, we're gonna go to 5-ish. And let's go like that, so we get a little bit of that showing there. I kind of want some showing in the top too. I just wanted a little more crackle showing, so I quickly brought in the crackle stamp and gave that a second try. Next, I brought in the star stamp from this stamp set. I did fold it over the block, so I didn't have so many of the stars. I could be more strategic about where I place them. I think I might cut it to make it a little more useful for me, but I haven't done that yet. These embellishment circles have a little scallop circle. I have a punch, so I just punched those out. And then this little camera came on the punch out sheet that the In Bloom came on. There is an identical camera available now, and I will link it down below. These are the flowers, and this is who they're by, in case anyone asks. I'm gonna start arranging the flowers and foliage in my embellishment clusters. And if you stay tuned to the end of the video, I'll give you some ideas of what you could use rather than these, since they're no longer available and they are from a different company, the roses. The little lens in this camera is a heart, and I wanted it to show up better, so I put pink just in behind the little heart. And I really like how that turned out. It really made that little heart pop. I thought the In Bloom title should be surrounded by blooms, so I'm just arranging these embellishments, trying to have a little bit of leaves and a little bit of pink flowers kind of spread around equally. If you're enjoying this video, I would just love it if you would hit that thumbs up and let YouTube know that you like this content. And I would also really love a comment down below. Let me know what you think of this layout and how you like my interpretation of the catalog layout. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel so you know as soon as I post a new video. I used the Barely Art glue to glue most of this down. It's available on Amazon, and I think most of the crafters use it. It's a very nice precision tip, so that's why we like it. And it's expensive, but it lasts a really long time because it has such a small tip that you don't use very much, and it sticks very well. And it sticks, you have a couple seconds to move things around, but it sticks quick. You'll see too, sometimes I throw a block on top of some intricate designs to get them to stick down, to give them some weight. And that's a really good little technique to get things to stick and adhere really well to the page. A lot of the tricks that I've learned was from other people's YouTube videos. I stamped these little boards in the almond color, and I'm going to use them kind of to break up that long line. There's only the one embellishment cluster to break up that line, so I kind of wanted to have something else coming down over that, and it makes a nice spot to write the date and a few words. I'm just adding this other little kind of a file folder edge up there at the top, and I used another scallop circle underneath there, and I'm adding a few stars and the little heart from inside the camera. Okay everyone, so this is the layout that I used, and here is my finished product. So it's a bit different, but it's definitely, there's similarities. I liked to have the anchoring line across the whole thing rather than just this small line on the bottom. And then I didn't layer as much under my photos. Also, I never did use, I intended to use this stamp. They've used it here and here, this one here. And I didn't do that. I did think later on that I could have used some of these leaf stamps here. That would have looked really cute under there. But I didn't, and I'm not gonna mess with it. Once you're done, you don't mess with it. So What I didn't realize is we have this pack. So there's stars, there's the camera is in here, so there's a lot. And then you may not be able to use In Bloom as a title, but you can use The Best Life, Happy Memories, Happy Days, Sweet Life, Sweet Memories, Enjoy Days, Enjoy Life. So there's so many options. So really, like, you definitely could pretty well recreate this page. It would be a little different, but very, very similar. And even have ready-made flowers. And if you ordered these flowers in pink or in whatever color theme that you wanted, because these come in every color, then you would also be able to kind of tuck those all in like I did. So there are quite a few thin cuts still available that have flowers that you would just minimal trimming and you could have flowers. But I was actually thinking of this one here that's similar. It's called Blooming Frame. And this one here you could easily use to tuck as like leaves or flowers underneath, as I've done with like here. This one here as well, I feel like you could trim out, it's the floral background thin cuts, it's still available, and I feel like you could trim out some leaves quite easily and some flowers and just cut it in pink and green or whatever colors you want, and then trim out your flowers and trim out your leaves. So that would be another option that you could do. Okay, I'll give you a bit of a close-up here. I'm really happy with how this turned out because I'm not very good at starting on a white background. Here is where I intended for journaling, so you could just write a few words here. You could even stamp it again, and if you wanted to go longer and keep going down. And then I'll show you this one. I really like how my inking, the stamps, stamp smearing went in the background. I don't know what you call that. Maybe one of you knows. So there is the finished product, and thanks so much for coming by to watch. Bye.